All right. Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. Game ends in a draw, all in a stalemate at the Emirates, as Arsenal needed this win to obviously suit it, obviously closing the side of Man City and the side of Liverpool. And as it stood, by the time the referee blew the last whistle to end this game of football, it was 2-2 at the Emirates. And it was Bukayo Saka in the 9th minute. He sat down Robertson very well and went in for the near post effort to make it 1-0 for the club of Arsenal. 9 minutes later, Liverpool went ahead to score from a set piece. Virgil van Dijk obviously scoring his first goal of the season, or the Premier League season. Then Merino towards the end of the first half, 2 minutes to the end of the first half. Declan Rice went ahead, obviously put in a very huge delivery that was really very teasing and inviting enough, and he headed the ball into the back of the net, scoring his first Premier League goal for the club of Arsenal. And by the way, if you remember, for Mikel Merino, even when Arsenal was playing against Bournemouth, Mikel Merino came close and could have gone ahead to find himself on target. Then Mohamed Salah went ahead, obviously level up the game in the 81st minute of the game. So welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? Let's see close to 200 likes much of this video. And one thing I really went ahead to do in this game of football is to obviously call in for a draw. If you remember my match preview, I told you 60% I see a draw. And the highest percentage was a draw. Then Arsenal win is possible and Liverpool win at 10%. I think that's what I went ahead to say into the match preview. But obviously I saw a 2-2 draw and it obviously went ahead of the orchestrated, because I knew to it that with us not having William Saliba, Carafiore and very many injuries, they are really vulnerable to really conceding goals, because however good they would defend, obviously at a certain point X, they would obviously surrender to the side of Liverpool. And finally, you saw to it that Arsenal really had injuries that went ahead to affect them. But let's go to the game before we obviously talk into deep football. But before we go to that side, Muno Gadgets 256, dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops, they are our sponsors of this video, and they are really doing the due diligence to bring us the best of the best as we call upon for it. They also deal in used phones and used laptops, and you can call them on +256 70 99 88 665, and you thank me later. Now, first and foremost, we all got the news yesterday night that Saka and Timber had gone ahead to obviously arrive at the team hotel before the game of football that was played today, and we got to know that come rain come sunshine, if they've made it to the squad that has gone ahead to sleep at the hotel, they are going to be into the team of Arsenal. And they really did, and Saka showed that he's really that main man into this team without Martin Odegaard and Saliba, and he gave them the lead. And by the way, in a game like this, you obviously have to give Bukayo Saka his flowers for really scoring the first goal, and he looked sharp, by the way, though I think he was not really 100% fit, because if a player is 100% fit, he can take on the game until the 90th minute. But you saw to it that after 45 minutes, Saka was naked and he couldn't obviously have the right mentality, meaning that the body couldn't really move, though the soul inside was like, we can do better, but the body couldn't obviously move further and further and further and further. So that is Saka for you, and he really went ahead to put in that goal, and I really liked it. I was really doing what we call the match reaction for Man United loss against West Ham, and I really found myself in a position of really watching that goal. But he sat down the guy very, very, very well, and I really loved it into that 9th minute. Then for Mikel Merino, before we talk Mikel Merino, that means Salah has gone ahead to obviously take his Saka, not Salah. Saka has gone ahead to obviously take his tally of the Premier League to the next level. And today, it has been really one of those moments that Saka has gone ahead to score his 3rd goal into the league, and he's having 7 assists. And obviously, you feel like a lot of positivity is really coming in through for the lad. What a way to return from injury and putting in that required shift all possible, because all you need when you return is to score that goal against Liverpool. And by the way, Saka has gone ahead obviously become that kind of one player that is really very threatening in these big games. If he doesn't score your goal, he'll obviously be responsible for the assist. The first big game of this season that Arsenal played was against Aston Villa, He was involved in both goals, though the first assist was not given to him, but the second assist was obviously given to him because Partey got the ball from Saka. Then they went ahead to play against Tottenham Hotspur, and you remember what he did. The only goal they scored, it was his assist from a set piece. Then against Man City, you remember very well, the second goal that Arsenal gets, obviously get the lead before the game ended 2-2 with the Gabriel Magalhaes header. You remember it was his assist. So today he has played his 50th game, I think, big game, and he has been on target, you know. So it shows you how important he is for the club of Arsenal, and he's really sending a message to people outside there that I'm the star boy, you know. I'm the elephant in the room, and he's really doing lots of things. And today his name was underlined in double lines because he did what he had to do. And for Mikel Merino, obviously we have to give him his flowers because coming in through in that side of Arsenal, obviously starting against Bournemouth, the manager tried that midfield alongside him and Declan Rice, Partey being played as a right back. Obviously, we anticipated that maybe annihilation obviously come. Maybe Luis Diaz will obviously treat Partey badly, but Partey came up and obviously put in a very big shift. By the way, kudos to Partey. He has been one of the highly performing players on the pitch. And by the way, something even crossed my mind. What crossed my mind? Him being named the man of the match. You know, I think he deserves everything because on the side of Arsenal, he did all what he had to do. You know, he had to close down Diaz. From Diaz, they brought in Cody Gakpo, and he was really solid. And his inversions in the midfield were really on point. And I was like, Partey, oh my God, you've gone ahead to close down two players that are really of pure quality, meaning that that right back position has not did him bad today as a Thomas Partey. So, for Mikel Merino, he has scored his first Premier League goal for Arsenal. What a way for him to score it. And obviously, it came in through from a set piece. You get? And this is becoming a trump card of Arsenal. You know, it's like a norm. It's becoming like another name of Arsenal. Set piece kings. I tell you, set piece kings. They've gone ahead to score now, I think like 4 or 5 goals in set pieces this season. And they're like trying to chase the tally they were at last season, because last season they scored 20 plus, and it looks like they're now like 15 goals short of really becoming those players, of really hitting that side. So Arsenal really looked great. But for Liverpool, you look at the first goal they score, obviously you have to give them the credit for the set piece. I think Luis Diaz brushes it to go into the vicinity of Virgil van Dijk, and it obviously goes in the back of the net. The second goal, I think very poor defending from the club of Arsenal, you know. Very poor defending. And for me, when Martinelli loses that ball, I think he doesn't really pile pressure onto the players of Liverpool that obviously go ahead to obviously open up the central defense, because they ran into an empty midfield and Arsenal was really caught off guard. And by the way, for Liverpool, it's a team that has gone ahead to score more counter-attacking goals. I think it's the deadliest team in transition. I stand to be corrected. I think no team has gone ahead to score more goals in the Premier League through counter-attacks than Liverpool. And that was the only moment they were really waiting in for. And the only moment they got to hit Arsenal on the break, you saw what they did. Obviously, I think Darwin Núñez found Salah, and Salah went ahead obviously score that goal. I think that's his 10th goal against Arsenal, and that is his, I think, 6th Premier League goal. So Salah is really trying to put in a shift that everyone is really looking at, understanding that the player is really here. And with his contract obviously coming to an end in 2025, he would like to put in a shift to see that Liverpool goes ahead, obviously keep him around and give him more money. But I don't know whether Saudi Arabia is still calling for him, because he is one of those that has gone ahead to obviously keep his value high by really keeping himself on target. But Arne Slot as a manager, I think he really did all what he had to do, and he went ahead to obviously show that he really wanted to get this game, to get something from this game than Mikel Arteta. After half-time, Arsenal never showed up. The facts show that Arsenal got their first shot at goal in the second half after 30 minutes. You know, from the 45th minute to the 74th minute, they hadn't gone ahead obviously register any shot at goal. You get? Yet in the first half, they really went ahead to attack left, right, and center. Looks like in the second half, Arteta gave them decisions that let's sit back. And when they sat back, due to a lot of pressure that was piled onto that central defense, Julian Timber was out and Gabriel Magalhaes. You get, and for Julian Timber, I was really sure that he can't really go to 90 minutes. And I think the plan of the manager was, after like the 70th minute, take him off and obviously bring on Jakub Kivio. You understand? So I think that's what the manager really had as a plan. But all went ahead to change when Gabriel Magalhaes got an injury and we saw a very huge iceberg tied onto his knee, meaning that he fell very badly and he injured his knee. So injuries are really catching up on Arsenal, but you obviously have to play very many games. But however much injuries are really catching up on Arsenal, Saliba is really going to be back in the midweek, I think. The manager will have to play him some minutes in that game. Then prepare for, I think Arsenal is going to be playing Newcastle next, right? So that's what Arsenal is really going to be having into their next games. And I tell you what, it's really going to be impressing and very, very, very giving. So that's what you're really having in through from that game of football. And let's go into the game stats. But Martinelli, guys, I tell you, sometimes when I talk about certain players, they really say Rokani has an agenda, but he's really predictable. Do you know how many times Arsenal played Martinelli into deadly positions? They couldn't produce a moment of magic. He's like Garnacho. Him and Garnacho are like the same kind of players. They just run in hurry sometimes, almost times, and find themselves falling into Konate. You've got to hate to note it that you've failed to go past Konate. Don't run towards him. You get? Find out a pass in the half space of the left and see what is really going to be given to you in return. I think that's better. You get? But I felt like something was not okay with Martinelli. And in the previous games, he was really working well. But today, Martinelli was really very disappointing. The same applies to players like Diaz of Liverpool. He was really very, very disappointing. By the way, those two players, him and Salah, were closed down. And if you are asked, apart from the goal that Salah scored, what else did he do onto the field of play? I tell you, nothing. You get? He was pocketed very well, and I think Timber had gone ahead to obviously do a very beautiful job for the club of Arsenal. Then these were the stats for the full 90 minutes played at the Emirates. 9 shots at goal for both sides. 3 shots on target by Arsenal, 4 shots on target by Liverpool, 45% ball possession by Arsenal, 55% ball possession by Liverpool, 385 passes completed by Arsenal, 458 passes completed by Liverpool, 80% passing accuracy by Arsenal. Liverpool had a passing accuracy of 82%, 14 fouls to either sides, and they went ahead to get only 2 yellow cards. By the way, I liked the way the referee officiated, by the way, because every time you looked at what he had to do in that game, like calling for a foul, he was like, play on, and he never really kept the whistle onto his mouth a lot, and that really excites me about any manager that really does things of this kind. Then no red cards issued. Then 2 offsides for the side of Arsenal and 1 offside to the side of Liverpool. Then 1 corner to the side of Arsenal and 3 corners to the side of Liverpool. So very much disappointing for Arsenal. If at all you really see to it that they've gone ahead obviously get 1 corner, it speaks volumes on how they never went ahead obviously utilize their chances. If you know, you know. So I think it is really one of those moments that you have to look at and really ask what really went ahead obviously go in as wrong for the side of Arsenal. Because first half, they looked brilliant, but they really went ahead obviously get the foot off the pedal and they invited pressure for Liverpool. For me, they defended very well, but you need your best defenders to be in the field of play. And this is where Arteta has to understand that players are supposed to be given minutes, because if you don't give them minutes, time will come when you need them in like game of Liverpool and they're not really fit. You get? So it should be a message to Mikel Arteta that he shouldn't obviously bench most of the players and not get them ample playing time in these games. Then let's go to Let's go to the table. Man City, 23 points. Liverpool, 22 points. Arsenal is having 18, meaning that they are 5 of Man City and 4 of Liverpool. That is Arsenal for you. Aston Villa, 18 points. Chelsea is having 17. Brighton is having 16. Nottingham is having 16. And Tottenham Hotspur is really having 13. Brentford is having 13. United is 14. It's the team that I support today. They're going to hit, obviously, come up and obviously lose against Fulham. Very many chances. They haven't gone ahead to score. No team has gone ahead to miss more big chances in the Premier League than Manchester United. The tally is now at 22, meaning that what is really failing them from really winning is not really scoring in those goals. But obviously, hard luck for the club of Arsenal. They're really having some big games again to be played into the season before you go to the international break, especially in the Premier League. And it's all about Newcastle and Chelsea. They are going to be playing away. But with Saka back, that is really something great. For Timber, we don't know how long he's really going to be out for, but I think it might be a precaution. Then Gabriel Magalhaes, we obviously have to wait to hear from the people responsible. How long is he really going to be kept out? So, Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2, and obviously, your reactions are welcome in the comment section below. Rokani David is my name. That has been what the match reaction was like, and we are preparing for what we call the player ratings. Bye-bye.